Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jeff Overmars, and I work with the Nova Scotia Human Rights Commission. It is my pleasure to welcome you to this presentation entitled Dignity, Respect, and Safety, the Heart of a Healthy Workplace, part of our Human Rights Week series of events. Since 2023, communities throughout the province have been invited to join in this week-long celebration of human rights from December the 3rd to the 10th. Presented by the Human Rights Commission in partnership with human rights champions, community-based organizations, and our colleagues in government, the week's events highlight the foundational role that human rights play in protecting each person's right to live free from discrimination and the powerful force of a collective effort. This session will be moderated by Ayo Aladajibi, Executive Director of Equity and Belonging at the Department of Labor, Skills, and Immigration, and will explore recent legislative initiatives and internal departmental efforts aimed at advancing psychological safety in workplaces across the province, including new harassment in the workplace legislation under the Stronger Workplaces for Nova Scotia Act, learning from engaging from Nova Scotians who helped to pave the way for these changes, LSI's internal commitment to fostering psychologically safe environments featuring the department's Let's Be program. Before I pass the mic over to Io, I'd like to share that with deep respect for the Mi'kmaq people, the Commission acknowledges that we are located in Chibuktuk, on the unceded ancestral territory of Mi'kma'ki. This land is covered by the sacred peace and friendship treaties signed with the British Crown in the early 1700s. We honor the profound historic and spiritual connections of the Mi'kmaq people to this land, where their ancestors' legacy endures. As treaty people, we are bound by the promises made in these treaties, guiding us in mutual respect and reconciliation. We commit to working together in harmony with respect for the Mi'kmaq people, their culture, and their rights. I want to thank Io and team for pulling this presentation together today and being part of our Human Rights Week calendar of events. This, I believe, is the 8th session that's taken place since the 3rd, and there are several more sessions occurring between now and the presentation of the Nova Scotia Human Rights Awards on December 10th in Halifax. I'd encourage folks to visit the Commission's website at humanrights.novascotia.ca, where they'll find recordings of the sessions that have taken place already, as well as details about the sessions that remain. So thank you again, and over to you, Io.
Thank you very much, Jeff. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this session. And on behalf of the Department of Labor, Skills, and Immigration, it is my honor to welcome you as we gather here in recognition of Human Rights Week. Each year, on December 10th, we mark the anniversary of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. And this commemoration, it's in respect of a groundbreaking global commitment that was made over 70 years ago. And this landmark document enshrines the inalienable rights to which every person is entitled, regardless of race, color, religion, sex, language, political or other opinion, national or social origin, property, birth, or any other status. The Department of Labor, Skills, and Immigration is proud to partner with the Commission to continue to advance human rights across our province. And through our session today, we're going to highlight some of the work that we've been doing to support this effort. So through this session, as previously mentioned by Jeff, which we've aptly titled Dignity, Respect, and Safety, the Heart of a Healthy Workplace, our goal will be to walk us through the new harassment in the workplace regulation, which was instituted under the Stronger Workplaces for Nova Scotia Act through the Department of Labor, Skills and Immigration. And we'll also spend some time to kind of take us through the journey of how we got here through the various things that we heard from Nova Scotia that helped paved way for all the changes that are now in this new regulation and in the Act. And also, we wanted to bring some practicality to this work, drawing on the internal work that we're doing within the Department of Labor, Skills and Immigration through our Let's Be program. And we do have one of our Let's Be ambassadors that will be joining the speakers today to take us through that. So at this point, and without taking too much more time from us, I would like to invite my colleagues from the Department of Labor, Skills and Immigration to introduce themselves. So I'll start here with Jennifer Schneer. So Jennifer, if I can invite you to do a quick introduction of yourself, please. Thank you.
Yes, for sure. My name is Jennifer Schneer, and I just lost my notes. Well, my name is Jennifer Schneer, and I'm the Senior Director for the Awareness and Outreach Team with the Safety Branch. And I have been working on the psychological health and safety file for the last number of years, probably since about 2022. And I've been a part of the engagement sessions through to the creation of the regulations, to the rollout, to the awareness and prevention programs that we've also been doing alongside partners in Nova Scotia. So I'm very happy to be here and to be part of the conversation today. And I hope that you get an understanding of how we came about creating these regulations in Nova Scotia.
Thank you very much, Jennifer. We look forward to hearing your presentation and the conversation that will follow through. Our next panelist will be Eve Webster. So Eve, please introduce yourself. Thank you.
So my name is Eve Webster, and I'm the Senior Director of Compliance and Inspection Services with the Occupational Health and Safety Division at the Department of Labor, Skills and Immigration. So my career journey actually began in the private sector, where I worked in a technical field. And then I joined the Technical Safety Division of the Department of Labor. In 2019, I joined Occupational Health and Safety as a Regional Director. And in 2023, I stepped into my current role as Senior Director. Throughout my career, I've been guided by a simple but powerful belief. Every person deserves to work in an environment where they feel safe, respected, and valued. This belief has shaped my leadership approach and my commitment to advancing workplace safety and human rights. I lead with integrity, empathy, ensuring that the safety and respect are at the heart of every decision we make. I believe in collaboration, continuous learning, and driving meaningful changes that protect people and promotes well-being in workplaces. I was proud to be part of the working group with Jen that developed the harassment in the workplace regulations, a milestone in creating safer, more respectful workplaces. For me, human rights are not just legal obligations, they are the foundation of dignity and fairness. When we uphold these rights, we empower people to thrive, strengthen organizations, and build healthier communities. Very happy to be here.
Thank you very much, Eve. We look forward to hearing more from you. And our final panelist will be Leanne Smith. Leanne, please introduce yourself, please.
Thank you, Ayo. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Leanne Smith. I'm a program officer with Employment Nova Scotia with the Department of Labor, Skills and Immigration. The majority of my career has been in client-facing roles, and because of that, I believe that both human rights and allyship are very interconnected. Allyship involves fostering inclusion, equity, to ensure that everyone's voice is heard. That includes listening, withholding judgment, and approaching all conversations with openness, curiosity, and humility. Being a true ally requires continuous self-reflection and education to create safer and more respectful environments where everyone feels a true sense of belonging and value. As part of my ongoing learning, I am very honored to be a Let's Be ambassador. As well, I'm also a member of our LSI Vibe team, which stands for Voices for Inclusion, Belonging, and Equity. So I feel that rather than assuming that you know something about somebody else's experience, it's a key element to listen. And that is one way of becoming an ally. So I always do my best to listen and try to expand my perspective and understanding. And along those lines, I definitely appreciate the opportunity to participate in today's session, and I look forward to learning more. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Leanne, and thank you to all of you. And I think the conversation around dignity is already showing through even just how you've introduced yourself and the work that you've done to ensure that that dignity is protected for everyone within our work environment. So the way we're going to proceed with this session is we are going to have an opportunity to listen to each participant. So there will be a short presentation from our first panelist, and then there will be another one from the second panelist, and then we'll have Leanne will come in the end to also do her own little presentation. And then in the end, we'll have the opportunity to have just some quick interaction in the form of conversation with the three of them. And then after that, we'll leave it open so that we can hear from all of you that have joined us today, because I feel that is very important, so that if you have questions or if you have thoughts, we can all be able to collectively learn together. So our first presentation will be from Jen. So Jen, if you are ready to go, the floor is yours.
Yes, I am going to share my screen. And I'm going to start my slideshow. Okay, are we seeing that?
Yes, we do see your notes,
Okay, you can see my notes
I believe.
or my slide.
Your slide and then the slide afterward with the note section.
Yeah, we'll see your notes as well.
Okay.
It was too easy when we practiced this 5 minutes.
Isn't that right? Am I still sharing?
Yeah, we're just looking at your email now.
Oh,
Jen.
goodness. Okay. Okay, let me unshare. Didn't I say that, Jeff, that I was worried?
Nothing to worry about. Little technical glitches, just like snow falling on the ground outdoors. We'll just enjoy a moment of pause.
Gonna share one more time. And I'm going to look for my document, because last time it told me I could go to my document and share it. And this time it doesn't say that. And what are you seeing now?
Seeing your slides, if you start your presentation, I think we got it. You got it. Thank you.
Starting to sweat. Okay, here we go. Sorry about that. Okay, so as I introduced myself earlier, my name is Jennifer Schneer, and I'm a senior director with the safety branch with the Department of Labor Skills and Immigration. And at the heart of every workplace lies a commitment to dignity, respect, and safety. These principles are more than ideals. They're the foundation for trust, collaboration, and well-being. When employees feel valued and protected, they're empowered to contribute their best, fostering innovation and resilience. A workplace that prioritizes psychological and physical safety not only meets legal and ethical obligations, but also creates an environment for people to thrive. Preventing harassment is not just a legal requirement. It's the cornerstone of a safe and respectful workplace. Nova Scotia's new regulations set clear standards, but true impact happens when every organization adopts strong policies and practices that protect dignity, foster respect, and ensure psychological and safety for all employees. So how did we get here? We're here to talk about, or my part of this presentation is to talk about how we heard and learned from Nova Scotians and how we ended up deciding that bringing psychological safety into Nova Scotia workplaces was a priority for us. Canada, and therefore Nova Scotia through federal representation, signed on to support psychological health and safety in the workplace by ratifying the International Labor Organization's Violence and Harassment Convention 2019 under Convention 190, and that happened on January 30th, 2023. This treaty explicitly addresses violence and harassment in the world of work, including behaviors that cause physical, psychological, sexual, and economical harm. And this all came into force in Canada on January 30th, 2024. While C190 does not use the phrase psychological health and safety in the same way that Canada's national standard for psychological health and safety does, it covers psychological harm as part of its scope.
Jen?
Yes?
Sorry, I think we're still seeing your notes. I was trying not to interrupt you there. So I think what you got to do is if you move your note screen, if you
Okay.
can move it to another screen. So do you have another screen, a separate screen? So your note screen, you can just move it because it seems to be on top of your presentation. So right now we only see
moved it.
So we only see your presentation now. So you're good now.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay. Sorry, I tested that earlier too, and it seemed to work, but that's okay. Thank you, IO. Appreciate that. So where was I? So ratifying the C190 obligates Canada's to implement laws and policies to prevent and address workplace violence and harassment. Canada's national standard for psychological health and safety in the workplace is a voluntary framework developed by the Canadian Standards Association and the Mental Health Commission in 2023. It's designed to help organizations create and maintain a workplace environment that promotes psychological well-being and prevents psychological harm. So in Nova Scotia, we were the last jurisdiction to introduce a comprehensive workplace harassment regulation. The harassment in the workplace regulation came under the Stronger Workplaces for Nova Scotia Act that came into effect on September 1st, 2025. These regulations require all provincially regulated employers to implement written harassment policy, train employees, and review their policy on a regular basis. My colleague Eve will come on later and cover in detail what's required for workplaces to be compliant under the new regulation. But first, let's talk about how we learned from Nova Scotians about what we needed to do. So first, we learned from other government departments. An engagement was conducted by the Nova Scotia Government Office of Equity and Anti-Racism to understand Nova Scotia's needs related to the creation of the equity and anti-racism legislation from 2022. This highlighted concerns of systematic hate, inequity, racism, and lack of psychological safety in the workplace. The Department of Labor, Skills and Immigration has demonstrated commitments to support Dismantling Racism and Hate Act by hosting engagement sessions with Nova Scotians specific to harassment in the workplace. The Preventing Harassment engagement sessions ran from November 20 November 14th, 2023 to December 8th, 2023. And we aim to explore psychological health and safety with a focus on preventing harassment in the workplace. Input was gathered from these engagement sessions and was used to create the future policy. Engagements were in person and virtual, and we had 10 in-person and 13 virtual sessions altogether. 55 participants, 157 participants were virtual. And we also had an opportunity for people to submit surveys and also written submissions as well. Input gathered from the engagements were used to inform the policies that help to address the harassment in the workplace issues. And from these engagements, several themes emerged and were really apparent based on some of the comments that we heard in the engagement sessions. They were impact. The first one was basic impact of workplace harassment, the impact of organizational culture on workplace harassment, leadership and accountability, awareness and understanding of workplace harassment, prevention and supporting a positive workplace culture, policies and procedures, reporting and investigation, and responding to harassment and supports for the impacted individuals. Many of the engagement participants reported various forms of workplace harassment, such as verbal abuse, forms of discrimination, sexual harassment, and physical violence. These experiences were perpetrated by both internal, meaning employee on employee, and external, for example, the public, students, patients, or clients. Those individuals could have been identified as the perpetrators. Consequences to these experiences detailed by the participants included job-related setbacks, retaliation, mental health issues, and absences due to sickness or disability claims. Here are some quotes that we heard with the connection to the themes. The first one was, workplace harassment occurs because the culture allows it to. Harassment happens mostly because this behavior has been systematically rooted for years within our system. Organizational culture encompasses beliefs, values, and behavioral incentives reflected in policies and practices, with leaders playing a key role in shaping and perpetuating it. Many talked about their need for stronger safety culture within their organization. Participants highlighted the normalization of bullying and harassment within organizations or mirroring societal issues. Emphasis and importance of improving organizational culture by acknowledging potential challenges. These results highlighted factors influencing organizational culture related to workplace harassment, including leadership, accountability, awareness, policies and procedures, work environment, staffing pressure, and staff composition. Another quote, it is the lack of action and follow through from the employer that puts up barriers to a harassment-free workplace. Workplace harassment comes from the top down. Employees are often threatened, harassed, or targeted by management for those from those in senior positions. Participants highlighted leaders' insufficient response to workplace harassment, pointing out challenges such as the lack of intervention and accountability. Reasons cited include leaders' limited understanding, their knowledge and skills, power imbalances, relationships with the harasser, and lack of visibility. Strategies to propose enhance leadership and accountability involve promoting respectful behaviors through leaders, building trust with staff, educating about harassment, and instituting independent reviews to assess organizational response, accompanied by consequences for leaders who neglect addressing or engage in harassment. Couple of other quotes we heard. People have very little concept of what harassment really means or how to deal with it at all levels in the workplace. Small organizations have less resources to look into things, and meaningful training is cost problematic. It's very hard. Managers need education and confidence in practice. It's a process, and they need to know what to do, and then they need to build confidence to do it and do it well. Clear gaps were communicated by the participants. Participants noted a pervasive lack of understanding about workplace harassment across all organizational levels, including challenges in recognizing types of harassment and differentiating acceptable from unacceptable behaviors is normalized in the workplace. Participants emphasized the necessity of improving knowledge by advocating for clear definitions of workplace harassment and implementing education and training programs. Examples include training for managers and staff on equity, diversity, inclusion, and accessibility, and existing policies to cultivate a workplace culture that discourages harassment. The only solution to establish a culture of where harassment and discrimination is not accepted in the workplace. With a more diverse workforce than ever, there also needs to be cultural challenges to overcome. Or there are also cultural challenges to overcome. So preventing workplace harassment is closely tied with addressing organizational culture, with factors like high-pressure environments, staffing shortages, public interaction, and workforce diversity influencing an organization's ability to prevent and handle harassment. Participants stressed the importance of fostering a positive workplace culture through clear policies, proactive prevention measures, responsive actions to harassment, and the Joint Occupational Health and Safety Committee's involvement, all aimed at promoting equal and respectful treatment and supporting individuals impacted by harassment. So following the engagements, the input from Nova Scotians and the resulting themes were captured in a What We Heard report that can be found on our website. And as a result of this report, it was input into the passing of the Stronger Workplaces Act for Nova Scotia. The Stronger Workplaces for Nova Scotia Act Bill 464, which received royal assent on September 20th, 2024, introduced significant changes to the Occupational Health and Safety Act. Key amendments included expanding the definition of health and safety, and the term health and safety is now defined as both physical and psychological safety. Mandatory harassment policies. Employers are now required to implement written policies to prevent workplace harassment. The amendments reflect Nova Scotia's commitment to psychological health and safety, aligning with standards of the international obligations under ILO C-190. The Occupational Health and Safety Division was also required to develop regulations to support this legislation by September 1st, 2025. So to support all of these changes, we had to let Nova Scotians know that these changes were coming. So we created a website called preventworkplaceharassment.ca, or you can find it at novascotia.ca/preventworkplaceharassment. And on the website, we provided information on what workers and employers needed to do to prepare for the upcoming regulations. We also ran a campaign to inform Nova Scotians, and this campaign, you may have seen it on social media or on the radio. And finally, I'm just going to share a quick video that we created to also inform Nova Scotians, and then I'll pass it over to my colleague, Eve.
Safety goes beyond headgear. Just as it protects your head from falling debris, recent changes were made to the Occupational Health and Safety Act to protect you from harassment in the workplace. But there's more to it than just headgear.
Like gloves to protect your hands from cuts and chemicals, the Act protects your right to handle workplace concerns safely. But what about when you need to be heard or seen?
Reflective clothing make you visible in low light conditions. The Act provides a solid foundation for a respectful workplace. Everyone in Nova Scotia deserves a workplace where they feel seen and heard.
As of September 1st, the Occupational Health and Safety Act will be updated to provide stronger protection for workers. These changes aren't just about physical safety measures, they're about respect and support.
Learn more at novascotia.ca/prevent workplace harassment.
Okay. Over to you, Eve.
Hey, Jen. Excuse me. We all know that psychological health and safety plays a key role in the overall health and safety in workplaces. And hopefully you all know that the Occupational Health and Safety Division is responsible for Nova Scotia's OSH Act and associated regulations. But did you know that Nova Scotia is the last jurisdiction in Canada to have something in place for psychological health and safety in workplace legislation? This really presented us with a unique opportunity, an opportunity to learn from other jurisdictions. We have spent considerable time over the past few years engaging with the other provinces and territories, asking them what has gone well for them, what challenges have they faced, and what would they change if they could go back in time. This valuable information has been tremendously useful. As Jen mentioned, in 2023, we engaged with Nova Scotians to seek input as to how to address psychological health and safety in the workplace. What We Heard report was created from this that highlighted the key themes. One key theme that we heard over and over is the need for clearer rules and guidance related to harassment from government. As Jen mentioned, in 2024, government passed legislation, Bill 464, Stronger Workplaces for Nova Scotia Act, to strengthen workplace protections to build psychologically healthier and safer workplaces. Changes to this act recognize health and safety as both physical and psychological, and it also gives us the ability to create regulations related to harassment in the workplace. Part 27 of the Workplace Health and Safety Regulations require all provincially regulated employers to create and implement a written harassment prevention policy that applies to their workplace. This came into effect on September 1st, 2025. The newest versions of both the OSH Act and the Workplace Health and Safety Regulations are available on our website, or if you have a device in your hand, you can always scan the QR code that's on your screen. So you want to ensure that the most recent version of the OSH Act is available in your workplace. Understanding what is considered workplace harassment is really important in creating a psychologically healthy and safe workplace for everyone. Workplace harassment can be a single or repeated unwelcome behavior or action that degrades, intimidates, or threatens, including conduct based on personal characteristics or inappropriate sexual behavior. Harassment from outside sources may also include clients, family of clients, patients, students, or other interactions from the public. Harassment may also occur through social media, email, and other online sources. Harassment can exist even without intention to harass or offend. Unpleasant interactions may not be harassment, but could develop into harassment if steps aren't taken to resolve conflicts. Most workplaces have policy around harassment in the workplace already before our legislation came into effect. Historically, those policies sat with the Human Resources Department. The big shift now is that harassment is considered an occupational health and safety hazard in the workplace. So what does that mean? Safety management systems need to be updated. So ensure they are updated or the OSH program to ensure proper implementation of the harassment regulations that took effect on September 1st. Continually assess current job training requirements and identify additional training needs as required. The workplace harassment policy must contain 5 components that are outlined in the regulation. We're going to go through those, but those 5 components are a statement, a commitment, procedures, policy review steps, as well as training requirements. So now let's delve into the contents of the policy. The statement needs to contain an entitlement to a harassment-free workplace that includes an obligation not to engage in workplace harassment and encourages employees to report workplace harassment that they witness. The employer will not disclose information related to any incident except when required by law, necessary for the purpose of any investigation, and for purposes of taking corrective action. that the employer will not reprimand or seek reprisal against any employee who has made a workplace harassment in good faith, and ensures that policy will not discourage, prevent, or preclude a complainant from exercising other legal rights pursuant to other law. The commitment is that the employer will ensure within that no employee will be subjected to workplace harassment, investigate all workplace harassment complaints, and take fair and appropriate corrective action. As with other safety concerns, having clear guidance and procedures is important to ensure that harassment complaints are dealt with in a consistent, fair, and effective manner. This increases worker confidence that harassment complaints will be handled in an appropriate way. So the procedures are to provide the expected reporting process for workplace harassment. For example, to the employer or supervisor, make it easy and safe for employees to report these concerns. Know how to recognize, prevent, and respond to workplace harassment. Provide process for making a workplace harassment report or complaint to a person other than the employer or supervisor if the employer or supervisor is the subject of the complaint. When investigating a complaint of workplace harassment, ensure the investigation process is well defined with clear guidelines. These guidelines must provide process for informing the complainant and the subject of the complaint of the result of the investigation, as well as any corrective action that has been or will be taken as a result. The policy review has to occur every 3 years, and be updated if necessary. This policy review should seek feedback from employees, including managers, supervisors, and other staff, as well as the Joint Occupational Health and Safety Committee and/or health and safety rep as appropriate in your workplace. The other big piece here is training. Training has to occur for all employees, whether they're management or staff, on the preventing harassment policies and procedures that have been created for that particular workplace. Whether you are an employee or an employer, it is imperative that everyone is familiar with the harassment policy at the workplace. Workplace health and safety concerns should follow the internal responsibility system first. This includes raising concerns with your direct supervisor or management team, the workplace health and safety rep, or joint occupational health and safety committee, or through your workers' union where appropriate. Be aware of your actions and behaviors. Treat coworkers with respect. Speak up against inappropriate behavior and support colleagues affected by harassment. If you see something, say something. If you experience or witness harassment, document the incident with details. Seek support from employee assistance programs, counseling services, or legal guidance if needed. Refer to our safety branch website that Jen showed you earlier, Labor Standards Division, or Human Rights Commission for additional resources. We have created helpful resources, including a guide for employers. This guide contains useful information such as checklists, policy templates, and useful forms. This guide will help ensure you are compliant and has answers to some of the questions you may have. This guide is wonderful, and I would encourage even employees to read this guide as well. It's available on our preventworkplaceharassment.ca website. This poster is also available on the website. You can print it from there, or if you want a printed copy sent from us, please reach out. It's very helpful to have these up on the safety board in your workplace or other common areas for all to see. A lot of employers have regular safety huddles or toolbox talks in their workplaces. We have created the content for your first one related to preventing harassment in the workplace regulations. This is also located on our new website. How to report a workplace harassment complaint to us. We have created this form. It's an intake form that's available on our website, or if you call our 1-800 number, someone can guide you to find the form or help you fill it out. This valuable information that you provide in this form helps us to triage your complaint appropriately to ensure that you get the support and answers that you need. and not have sound here, Jen. If we don't have sound, that's okay. So hopefully you have all heard of Nova Safe and have it on your mobile devices already. If not, the QR code is on this slide. It's a fantastic resource for all things health and safety related for Nova Scotia. Know your rights, make the right call. Do you know our 1-800-9-LABOR phone number or safetybranch@novascotia.ca email address? Please reach out anytime. This is for employees and employers to use. It's a 24/7 service and somebody will get back to you. Are you on our contact list? So this is a great way to stay up to date on health and safety information, receive new resources for your workplace, learn about upcoming engagement sessions, call for comments, new regulations, and other safety branch announcements. You can use the QR code on the screen as well to find that. Thank you very much, and I hope this was useful information. And of course, Jen and I welcome your questions and comments.
Thank you very much, Jen and Eve, for walking us through the amazing work that the safety branch of the Department of Labor, Skills and Immigration has been working on over the last little while, and it's very exciting to see how this is going to begin to help protect everyone within our workplaces across the province. So as promised, we also have this aspect of how things are actually unfolding within our department. So within the department, we do have the Let's Be ambassador folks that are helping to support some amazing initiative around creating a psychologically safe work environment for everyone within the department. So I'm going to invite Leanne to speak to this work that the ambassadors have been doing within the department. Leanne, when you're ready, you can come on, please.
Thank you, Ayo. You folks can see me, can you? Excellent. Thank you both, Jennifer and Eve, for that great information, as well as the additional resources that you shared. I'm going to be speaking about the Let's Be Ambassador program. And what that is, it's a department-wide wellness initiative that's designed to empower employees to take ownership of their own well-being, reduce burnout, build healthy habits that support recovery and resilience all across the Department of Labor, Skills and Immigration. The Let's Be program was launched in September of 2022, beginning with an exciting kickoff from Canadian icons Hal and Joanne, best known for their long running body break segments that inspired healthy living for decades. Their involvement brought credibility and energy to our journey, sharing their deep expertise on the intersectional aspects of health and wellness and helping us set a tone for a culture that prioritizes employee health. This initiative is led by the Engagement, Equity, and Belonging branch and driven by a critical reality. The average Canadian office worker spends between 77 to 80% of their working day sitting, and that's a habit linked to serious health concerns. And since most of our time is spent at the office, this matters. Additionally, the mental health picture of Canadian workers is also concerning. 1 in 5 people will experience mental health challenges. And since the pandemic, 50% of Canadians report that their mental health has worsened. Relationships have suffered as well. 32% say their connections with family and friends has declined, and 1 in 3 Canadians report diminished physical health and ability. Our response at LSI was to launch this multifaceted program designed to meet these challenges face on. Each month, we invite experts to share insights on wellness topics and introduce interactive challenges that encourage engagement, accountability, and healthier habits across our workforce. So one part of that is that every month we host wellness sessions we call those Wednesday wellness sessions. These sessions are open to all LSI staff, and it's designed to spark learning and engagement around health and well-being. To keep the momentum going throughout the month, we share additional resources and insights through emails and our SharePoint site, and this information is usually aligned with each month's theme. As an added incentive, there are monthly challenges that give our participants the chance to win prizes, which make wellness both rewarding and fun. So to ensure that the Let's Be Ambassadors program reflects what matters most to our employees, we have a group of very passionate volunteers who bring ideas to life, provide feedback, and promote initiatives, host sessions, and champion engagement. Their leadership helps the program thrive and stay connected to the needs of our workforce. So this truly is a wellness program that strengthens social bonds. I love that the Let's Be program creates intentional opportunities for connection. Most of our sessions have time reserves for participants to share something about themselves or to ask questions, and for us to be able to regularly connect in a meaningful way with our colleagues exposes us to, of course, different backgrounds, different perspectives, different life experiences, and encourages everyone to bring all parts of themselves to work. And that helps build a foundation of trust and, again, support that sense of belonging and well-being. So very important parts of the program are to, as I mentioned, include experts to provide information on how to, build the resiliency, give some insight on managing mental health, promote active, healthy living, food, nutrition, different things like that. All of these are very important because, again, as I mentioned, how much time everybody spends at work, we spend a lot of time working together. And this wellness program definitely gives people a good sense of belonging by treating each other with respect, dignity, understanding, without judgment, where people feel they can share their experience and work with others, which doesn't just translate into the session itself, but it actually enhances their overall workplace relationships and collaboration. So again, as I said, I'm very honored to be involved in this group. It definitely helps me learn ways of better engagement, new perspectives, and to be able to support other people in their journey as well. And through the Let's Be program, of course, we hope to continue to support all the employees in prioritizing mental health, physical health, emotional health, and spiritual health. So thank you again, everyone.
Thank you very much, Leanne. And yeah, I think I echo your words because sometimes what happens in most work environment is this idea of bringing your whole self to work. And sometimes it is easier said than done. So, but I think with the work that the ambassadors are doing through the Let's Be program, we're creating that space where everyone across the department can actually show up as their authentic self and be able to be in an environment where they can be able to share, support one another, and empower one another. And I think that translates to a work environment where everyone feels respected, acknowledged, and the dignity that we're talking about continues to be reaffirmed. So all of this work, they all have this interaction and this connection to them. So I would definitely love to hear from those of you that have joined us. I know some folks have already started putting questions in the within the Q&A. So please, if you have some questions or you're still reflecting on it, we do have enough time for us to be able to do that. But why I'm giving you time to build up your questions. So I do have a few questions that I want to engage my colleagues around. And I think I'm probably going to start from here, Jen, and this could be a little bit of maybe a little bit of departure from what we have structured. So there's also some question that I'm going to ask later that could be a bit personal. But I just wanted to get a sense from you, Jen, in terms of when you began that the engagement. What was maybe just from your experience, what was the most difficult part of that? The engagement that you had to go through prior to to beginning the work and to getting all the what we heard report. So I'm just curious to see what you would consider to be the most challenging part of that engagement.
Thank you for that question. I think the most challenging part was definitely being able to reach as many Nova Scotians as we wanted to. We did have a large campaign to promote the engagement sessions. We had it on the radio. We had it on radio stations across the province because we wanted to make sure that we were reaching not only people that were located in the larger centers, but also people all over the province. Like we had 13 virtual sessions where anybody could join. So the hardest thing was getting that reach and getting people to join in and participate. For sure. I don't think while we did deem our engagement sessions a success and we did meet, criteria that is set out within the province for reaching the certain number of people, we would have liked to have heard more, right? We always want to hear from as many people as possible. So that we found to be a little bit of a challenge. The only other thing that I'll mention was it was difficult to keep on track during the engagement sessions because people really wanted to share, right? They had stories, they had concerns, they wanted to share their life experiences. We wanted to be able to hear all of those life experiences, even though we weren't able at the time to point them in any direction that would be able to protect them in the workplace. But all of those stories and all of that information that we received did feed in to where we ended up today with regulations that I think are pretty solid and helpful for workplaces. So
awesome. Thank you very much, Jennifer. And I think sometimes, when you're going through this engagement process and you get to the point where people really want to share their stories, I feel from experience that's actually indicative of a good of a good engagement session, because you've created a space where folks feel like, I want to be heard. I want my story to be part of this. So that's that's a really good one there. So maybe we want to keep this a little personal, because this could be, some question that people are maybe just reflecting on. And I'm probably going to get each one of you to share your perspective on this here. So when you think about a safe work environment, just from your individual perspective, so what helps you feel safe to speak up or to share your concern when you are when you find yourself within that within a work environment? So what are those things that you consider as things that make you feel safe to be able to voice your opinion or to be able to share within the workplace? And any one of you can jump on that as necessary.
I'm going to say feeling respected and have a trusting relationship, maybe with my manager or my colleagues, being, just feel like I can be open and honest, and that if I do bring concerns forward, they will be dealt with in a fair manner, and that I will be heard. That's what's for me.
Thanks, Eve. Jen or Leanne?
I agree with Eve. I was going to say having a good relationship with my manager. I think that it's really important for managers to build relationships with team members to make sure that they feel heard, they feel seen, that they are able to come forward when they have questions. And vice versa. If you're an employee who doesn't feel they have a good relationship with the manager, then take the steps to create one. Right? Go for a coffee, have a conversation, maybe ask how each other's weekend was instead of just having every conversation being about work. Build a relationship so that when the difficult conversations do have to come up, they're easier to have.
Excellent. Thanks, Jen. Leanne?
So again, this would be something that I had mentioned already, is building an environment through the Let's Be, where people are already feeling that environment of acceptance and belonging and value, and taking that opportunity in situations where somebody else may be hesitant to speak out, maybe advocating on their behalf without doing it for them, but speaking of things that may make them feel more comfortable in expressing themselves as well. So for me, when I see other people sharing their thoughts and those thoughts being recognized and acknowledged and accepted, that's a safe workplace for me where I feel that I could do the same.
Thank you, Leanne. And I think I'm going to pick one of the questions in here, and probably this may be going to Jen. So there is a question around, when you were doing the consultations. So did your group ask any question around the experiences of ableism through your consultations?
We worked very closely with a consultant to make sure that we had questions that would make sense and be all inclusive to everybody. We didn't get into any kind of specifics, like we didn't ask specifically about harassment or bullying or sexual harassment or ableism or discrimination or anything along those lines specifically. However, I can say that there were many examples provided in the course of the engagement sessions that were specific to ableism and people with disability in the workplace, and some of the issues that they were facing from their colleagues and employer.
Okay. Thank you, Jen.
You're welcome.
So in speaking to that, and again coming back to the work environment. So let's think about leadership now and kind of reflect on what that might mean within the work environment. So how can leaders best support employees who might be, trying to manage maybe mental health, challenges, heavy workload, tight deadlines, and those things that just sort of make all of us very nervous within the workplace. So how do you think leaders within the organization can best support folks that are in that situation?
I think by leading with empathy is
Okay.
important. Empathy and understanding. I think regular informal check-ins are critical for supporting people as well. Giving people the supports that maybe they request or require in order to fulfill work obligations. Asking the employee for ideas of how to best support them, like what do they need, being open. And I think thinking outside of the box, and I think there's creative solutions for so many issues in the workplace that haven't even been uncovered or utilized yet.
Thank you, Eve. Jen or Leanne, any thoughts to add to that?
I think it's the responsibility of employers to always have their finger on the pulse of what's happening in their organization. They have to know what's happening on the ground and be sensitive to that and make sure that people are being held accountable and that every issue and every complaint is being dealt with fairly. And that there's also an explanation that comes back to the complainant when they complain, so that they know it was addressed or dealt with. There needs to be some kind of debrief that happens afterwards. But I think that it's employers need to step up and really make sure they understand what's happening in their organization.
Thank you, Jen.
I'm just going to briefly add that it's always a learning and relearning process, and that I believe that an employer needs to be fostering that mindset of having a pulse on what's going on, but also relearning and sharing that information with everybody.
Thank you, Leanne. So I have a question here in the chat, and this might be going to Leanne. So just around the Let's Be program. So someone is curious that has there been any thoughts to expand this to all government staff? And also working with the Office of Workplace Mental Health, or the PSC.
I can't speak to that completely.
No.
I'm a newer member to the group. I do know that there is some overlap. As I mentioned, I'm also part of the Voices for Inclusion, Belonging and Equity. So I know that we're working with that group, and we do have a lot of people that are on other committees and working with management and whatnot. To specifically say if it's going to all the other departments and whatnot, I can't answer that, but I certainly will bring it up at the next meeting that we have.
Thank you, Leanne. And as someone who supports that program, so I guess to answer that question, again, it's a very thoughtful question, and which makes sense. And the one good thing is we do have partnership with folks from other departments that every now and then we will invite them into the program to provide support with what we're doing. But definitely, this is one program that if the opportunity were to present itself, we could have conversation with other departments that may be interested in it, or possibly with the PSC if it's something that they want to look into or adopt. But for now, the way we have it structured, the intent is to be able to support folks within our department. But definitely a good template that could be replicated across government. So, we are coming back to another question here around the responsibilities that we all have as Nova Scotians around the promotion of dignity, respect, and safety within workplace. And I think in your presentation, Eve and Jen, and in particular, Eve, towards the latter part, just talking about what the responsibility of employers and all of that. So I think my question here is, what key actions do you think Nova Scotians can, take back, and by Nova Scotians, I mean those that are, have joined us for this conversation. So what key action do you think they can take back to their organization that will help to continue to promote dignity, continue to promote respect, and to continue to help to foster a safe work environment for everyone? So just based on the presentation that we've done today and all the conversation that we've been having. So whoever wants to go first, okay.
Let's say being open, introducing the topic, making it comfortable to talk about, asking the employee what a psychologically safe workplace looks like to them. I think sharing the website that Jen and I both spoke about, like I said, there's a lot of great resources there, I think, to kind of introduce the topic. The guide for employers contains a lot of great information on, for example, investigating complaints of harassment in the workplace. So you can use some of those topics in that guide, or even the safety huddle, the toolbox talk that we created to kind of just open up the conversation and even just talk about that, the legislative piece, like what it means, like what employers are obligated to do now by regulation, and how that organization plans on supporting their employees through that.
Thank you, Eve. Jen?
I think it's everybody's responsibility to know their role and to know their rights. Like Eve said, go check out the website, and there's a lot of other information that's available so that you can to help you understand what your rights are in the workplace, what the employer is obligated to do, and also to know what your role is in, minimizing harassment in the workplace, being able to identify it, being able to address it safely. We spend a lot of time at work every day, and I think it's everybody's responsibility to make it a civil place for everybody to feel comfortable going to and leaving home safely. We always like to say at the safety branch, like, work safe, home safe every day, and that doesn't just mean physically, that means psychologically as well. So you work psychologically safe, you come home psychologically safe every day.
Thanks, Jen. Leanne?
Again, I'm going to link it into the Let's Be and the wellness there. Again, we are always doing our best to make sure that we have relevant topics, experts involved in delivering the presentations, being able to answer questions, as well as giving folks the opportunity to share their own experiences and how things can be applied in their own lives to make those things better for their own, mental health or physical health. And again, making folks feel comfortable sharing that information and learning whether or not additional resources can be offered and sharing that with folks as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Leanne. And Leanne, it looks like someone dropped a question here for you. So in thinking about your connection to the Let's Be program, so which one of the themes would you say has been your favorite? I know the Let's Be program goes through different themes. I don't know if you remember any particular theme that you would say, I think this would be my favorite.
You mean one of the Wednesday wellness themes?
Yeah, the
or
Wednesday
monthly?
wellness. Yeah, those ones.
Well, again, every one of them, I find that I can find a piece of information in there that is very valuable to me. I'm always learning something new from it, but again, by having other people's perspectives or different views, one of the ones that that jumps to mind right now doesn't give it any more weight than the others for me, but was just something as simple as decluttering. So when we did the decluttering, that's one way that people can mentally clear their head, clear their space, create a safer environment. There's a lot of factors in just that one type of session that you can take something from. So for me, like I said, the decluttering and you can do that in small increments and it can make such a big difference. So that's one of the key things that I find is the program offers simple ways to make an improvement and impact your life.
Awesome. Thank you, Leanne. And yes, this has been great to be able to hear from each one of you around the work that is being done within the Department of Labor, Skills and Immigration that at a very large scale impacts all Nova Scotians in ensuring that we are keeping our workplaces safe from, harassment, bullying, and anything that would take away the dignity of those that are within the work environment. So thank you for all the amazing work that you've done in that area, Jen and Eve, and of course the work that you're still going to be doing, because I know the work has just started now with the regulation and the enforcement piece and all that, and how that is going to ultimately unfold. And Leanne, also, for the amazing work that you're doing, being part of the ambassador within the department. So before I bring everything to a close, I don't know if there are things that are going through your mind individually. So I don't want to let you go without giving you that opportunity to just kind of have your last say, and you don't have to if you don't feel like it. So, but I just wanted to give that opportunity. So, if there are things that you just want to share as your closing thoughts before I wrap up the conversation. So, Jen, I would get you started if you have some final thoughts that you want to share before we wrap it up.
Yeah, for sure. I think the first thing that I would say is there's information available. There are resources available. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but like our website does have a great deal of resources available for employers and employees. If you can't find what you're looking for on there, WCB, the Workers' Compensation Board, Nova Scotia, also has a suite of information to help support you and where you can go to find help and support as well. So my key thing to say is if you don't know, or if you can't find what you need to help to help yourself or to find information on knowing what to do next, call our 1-800 number, 1-800-9-LABOR. You can email safety branch, safetybranch.ca, or safetybranch@novascotia.ca, sorry. And ask where you can find resources, ask where you can find information, and we're more than happy to provide what we have to you and to walk you through how to use them.
Thank you, Jen.
Thanks for having us, Io.
Thank you very much. Eve?
So I was just going to say exactly what Jen just said. Like, if you reach out, like, we are here to support all Nova Scotians. So if you have questions, please reach out. Our officers are well trained now as well and can reach out, visit work sites, workplaces as well. So yeah, we are here to answer questions. If there's a resource that you think would be useful for your workplace or for your sector, also share your ideas. We want to make sure we're meeting people's needs. And if you have a great idea, we'd love to hear it as well.
And Leanne?
And I'm going to echo Eve's last thing of, if you have any information to share or anything you'd like to see or hear, that applies to sharing it with one of your Let's Be ambassadors, to make sure that we try to get that included in an upcoming session or to provide more information to folks. And again, I encourage everybody to be involved, because that's how we make sure that everybody is heard and things go in a way that promotes a healthier workplace. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Leanne. And I believe we are going to be wrapping up the conversation here, just checking to make sure that we don't have any questions that have been lingering in our Q&A here. No question in the Q&A. Do we have any question in the chat? Because I know sometimes people don't put stuff in the Q&A. So I don't want to miss any question that may be there.
There are a few.
Jeff, do we?
Yeah, there's
Oh, we do.
Yeah, there's one there from Anne. If you can read that, Io.
Okay.
Otherwise, I think you've covered off all of them that were posted to the Q&A.
To the Q&A. Okay, let me just go through that one. Oh yeah, I see. Oh yeah, I missed that. And I apologize to those who put those in there. So I was expecting the question to go into the Q&A, but I would, so because we still have some more time left. So actually there are two in here. So I see one from Laura Beth. So I'm going to read this out. So just to give, provide the context to that. So thank you. Thank you. Such an important topic. I'm a person who lives with psychosocial disability, and a safe and welcoming workplace environment is especially important to prevent triggering past trauma and causing distress. From a first voice lens, your work to prevent harassment is so important, as microaggressions and disrespect are common. And they give example: gossip, undermining employees, holding people to account without knowing expectations, etc. So how do you hold managers to account for this less obvious behavior as part of the preventative work? So I don't know if there could be an answer to that from either Jen or Eve.
I can take a stab at that.
Okay.
Because as we are the regulator, we can only oversee what is provided within regulation, right? So our goal is to make sure that workplaces understand what they need to do to be compliant with the preventing harassment in the workplace regulations. However, we take our preventative work around safety in the workplace, including psychological safety in the workplace, very seriously. While I can't say that we do any specific preventative work around, what is necessary for a manager or for an employee. We do promote the fact that it's necessary for people to become aware, become educated, take training, learn to understand. Laura Beth, your question is an excellent one, and I think one that I will take back and talk to with my team and perhaps with you on as something that we can be looking at in the future for more prevention work that we do intend to be doing. Eve, is there anything you want to add to that within our space?
Yeah, no, I think you framed that up very well. And I think it, for us, for the preventing workplace harassment regulations, it's really understanding what is harassment and what is not harassment in the workplace. Sometimes it's really hard to decipher that as well.
Yeah.
Sometimes HR has other policies in play that don't fall under our legislation that may be helpful as well. But yeah, I agree. We should take this one back. I think it was really well framed, that question.
Yeah, thank you very much. And I'll go to the last one. So what happens after completing the intake form on Nova Save? That's the first part. How long does the process take? And what supports are available in the meantime to people who have been experiencing workplace harassment for an extended period of time and who continue to work in a psychologically unsafe environment? And speaking with management is not a viable option after having many unfruitful conversations for 1 year and a half. Can you please clarify the different roles of the labor standards divisions and the Human Rights Commission so one is better informed to navigate all these entities? So this is kind of like a packed question here. So maybe we can take the first half of that. So somebody goes on the Nova Save, complete that. How long does that process take? And is there any support available for people while they're in that kind of waiting period?
So there's a couple things. Yeah, that's a loaded question. That's a big question. But I think we can answer all of it. So the intake form itself is very short. It's only a handful of questions. The key is that the regulations only came into play as of September 1st. So harassment needs to have occurred since September 1st and needs to have been reported internally through your own internal responsibility system to your manager or your Josh committee since September 1st. There are, we've talked already about the amount of supports that we do have available through our website and through WCB as well. The process itself, from the intake form coming in to when action happens, that can vary, and I'll let Eve speak specifically to that. But the intake form comes in, it's reviewed. There are times when the client, the person submitting the form, may need to be contacted for further information. So it's hard to say exactly how long that process will take, and whether or not the end result is getting assigned to an occupational health and safety officer. That depends on the details of each one of the different situations. Eve, did you want to add to that?
Yeah, no, I think you framed that up perfectly. That's kind of why we created the intake form, so that we could triage anything more of an urgent nature gets dealt with faster. And then if it's, a request for information, that might take a little bit longer. Certainly we strive to respond to these situations or any safety concerns as quickly as we possibly can. But we do have a prioritization kind of avenue, when there's because we deal with all safety concerns in the workplace. So, yeah, that's a hard one to say specifically.
Yeah. And Yeah, thank you, Eve and Jen. And I don't know if the last piece of this question, if it's something you want to answer, or this could be something to take back and probably maybe include as part of your frequently asked questions on the website somewhere. So, can you please clarify the different roles of the Labor Standards Division and the Human Rights Commission so one is better informed to navigate all of these entities? So,
I don't know if I can say specifically exactly the different roles of the labor standards and human rights. What I can say is that because the Occupational Health and Safety Act, we're responsible for our act and our regulation. If we get a complaint brought to us that we think does fit into the criteria for labor standards or human rights, we do have a referral process where we can refer people over to those other departments if we see need be. And the other thing is that we do meet with those other departments on a regular basis to talk about, we don't ever talk about specifics, of course, because everything is confidential, but we do talk about the way that we work together and the way that we show up for Nova Scotians so that we can make it as clear as possible when people should be going from one department to the next and how we can interact with each other to make it easier for Nova Scotians.
fantastic. Thank you, Jen. I think we cover all of the questions. So definitely a few thoughts there that could be taken back to for further conversation with your team. And thank you for answering those questions very well. So at this point, I think we can start wrapping things up. So once again, to my colleagues from LSI, Jen, Eve, and Leanne, thank you very much for sharing your expertise and insight as we engaged in this conversation today. So your contributions today remind us of the importance of meaningful conversation when it comes to advancing dignity, respect, and safety within our workplaces. And also to everyone who has joined us today from wherever you might be joining us from. Thank you very much for lending us your time and your voice to this important conversation. Just a quick reminder to everyone that Human Rights Week is not just a commemoration, it's not just a celebration or fanfare. It's also a commitment, it's a call to action. So by showing up today, you individually, our panelists and our guests that joined us, you've all reaffirmed that commitment and the belief in the fact that collectively we can create a culture where every person is valued and protected, especially within our workplaces. And together, I believe we can continue to uphold human rights for all. Because when one of us thrives, we all thrive together. So, again, I want to thank you all for joining us today. And I do hope that you will join all the other events that have been scheduled for this Human Rights Week. Thank you very much and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you, Io and team, for sharing this presentation today. I have nothing more to say. You did such a wonderful closing, Io. Thank you. Take care, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.